There's more happening above your head than you think. Storms, claims, contractors who talk a big game. Eaves and Ridges is the show that cuts through it. Roofing, HVAC, plumbing, tree service, and everything else that keeps a home standing strong. Real stories, real pros, real answers, no sales pitch. This is Eaves and Ridges. And now, your host, Steve Pike.
Man, one time I was walking on a roof to do an inspection, and about halfway across, my foot broke straight through the plywood decking. It had been soaking up water for who knows how long, and nobody had any idea, until I was nearly falling through somebody's roof. That roof looked fine from the ground, and it was anything but fine underneath. That's the kind of thing that happens more than people realize, and that's exactly why we built this show. Hey, I'm Steve Pike, founder of SETX Roofing Pros, and this is Eaves and Ridges, What's Under Your Roof. Before we get into anything else, I want you to know who's talking to you and why. I got into roofing because there's something tangible about this work. When somebody calls us with a leak dripping right over their kid's bed, and we can go out and fix that, that's about as real and as gratifying as work gets. You're not just selling a product, you're taking a real problem out of somebody's life. I didn't even get into this business because I love shingles. I got into it because of what happens when things go wrong and how often people get burned. Not by bad weather, but by bad information. The pattern that got to me wasn't one job. It was hearing the same story over and over again. A homeowner would tell me that a previous contractor took their deposit and either never came back to finish the work or did half the job and disappeared after they had already been paid. That's not one bad apple. That's a pattern. And patterns are exactly what this show exists to fix. That's the real reason SETX Roofing Pros exist, not just to fix roofs, but to do it with integrity, honesty, and the kind of transparency people in this industry don't bother with. And somewhere along the way, I realized fixing roofs wasn't enough. People needed somewhere to go to actually understand what's happening to their home before they're standing in their driveway with three contractors giving them three different answers. That frustration is what turned into this show. So who is this show actually for? If you're a homeowner who's ever felt like you've been talked at instead of talked to, this show is for you. If you manage commercial or multifamily properties and you're tired of guessing whether the person bidding your job actually knows what they're doing, then this is for you. Here's what I want to be straight with you about. Right from episode 1, this show is not going to stay just about roofing. Roofing is where we start because it's where I live. But your home is a whole system. Roofing, siding, windows, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, trees, foundations, all of the different things. And most of it gets handled by people you've never vetted. Doing work you can't inspect, priced in ways you don't understand. So here's the promise on the vision side. As this show grows, we're going to bring in real pros from every one of those trades. HVAC, plumbers, electricians, foundations, tree trimmers, all of the things. People who've been doing this a long time and who care about the same things that I care about. So don't be surprised when you see a plumber in this chair a few months from now. That's not a departure from the mission. That is the mission. Because at the end of the day, this show has one job: to help you walk away feeling like you can make good decisions about who you let work on your property. That's it. That's the whole thing. Every episode on this show is going to circle back to 4 things. I call them the 4 pillars. Let me give you a quick preview of each one. Pick a pro. This one's simple. How do you actually choose the right person to work on your home? It's not the cheapest bid. It's not the pushiest salesman. It's the right one. Here's something every homeowner needs to hear. We all want good, fast, and cheap. We want all 3 of those, but you can only ever pick 2. I've watched people take the lowest bid or even the middle bid thinking they were being smart, and at the end, paying more once the job is done. Why? Because the bid wasn't all inclusive. The scope of work was never clearly defined in the contract. So what looked cheap up front turned into surprise costs later. That's Pick a Pro. We'll go deep on that all season long. Then there's Roof Yourself. This one's about knowing what you can safely do yourself. And just as important, what you absolutely should not do. And the myth I hear all the time is it's just a little sealant. I need a little sealant or I need a little caulk. Well, those things dry out and they crack, and yep, that's where the water comes in. You've got a maintenance issue. Roofing products are engineered to shed water on their own, so if you need caulk to keep the water out, something underneath wasn't installed properly. Sealant doesn't fix that, it just masks it and turns a real problem into ongoing maintenance and headaches that you'll be chasing forever. Then there's the claim game. Insurance claims confuse almost everybody, and that confusion costs people real money. Here's one thing almost nobody knows. Unlike auto insurance, home and wind insurance doesn't penalize you for filing a claim. People hesitate to file because they're scared that their rates will spike, the same way that they would after a car accident. That's just not how it works with your homeowner's policy. And then there's Storm Readiness. And this one might be the most important, especially where we live in Southeast Texas. Storm damage doesn't wait for you to be ready for it. You want to know what the single biggest thing people wish they had done before the last storm? Well, it's actually know the condition of their roof. An aging roof that's near the end of its life can take on damage that a newer roof would shrug off. And when it fails, it's not just the roof you're dealing with, it's the contents of your home. It's the interior, everything underneath that roof was supposed to be protecting. It's the 4 pillars. Every episode ties back to at least one of them, and that's the spine of this whole show. So before we go any further, I want to tell you exactly what this show will be and what it will never be. This show will never be a sales pitch disguised as advice. If I bring someone on this podcast, it's because I trust what they know, not because I'm trying to sell you something through the back door. This show will never trash another company by name. That's not who we are, and it's not what builds anything worth building. And this show will never oversell what's possible with an insurance claim or a warranty. If the honest answer is it depends, that's the answer you're going to get. What this show will always do is give you straight talk. Real names, real stories, people who actually do this work, telling you the truth about it. And that's the whole promise in one sentence. We protect what matters most by executing at an elite standard, communicating clearly, and doing what we say with integrity. Every episode gets measured against that, no exceptions. So what's next? In episode 2, we're talking about storm prep. What you need to know before the next one hits, not after. If any part of what you heard today resonated with you, do me one favor. Follow this show wherever you're listening or watching, or so you don't miss a single episode. So yeah, click that subscribe button, that like button, that follow button. Go ahead and share, comment, tell us what you want to hear about. And this isn't just about roofing. It's bigger than that. So stick around. I'm Steve Pike. This has been Eaves and Ridges, What's Under Your Roof, and we will see you next time.